they're really easy to understand, Patrick. I mean, especially if we heard the last call, you've got it there. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, there's a lot of words there that you need to try and get an understanding of, okay?
Yes.
A lot of those actos. Okay?
So.
And see, a lot of people like one there, ACTIORE, next word, UXORIAE. A civil law action for the dissolution of a marriage for the restoration of the dowry given to the couple at the time of their marriage. If you've got a state marriage certificate, basically you've got a dowry there. If you got divorced, you never picked that dowry up. I can almost guarantee it. All of your checks that you've been signing, we've known this for a long time. That line says authorized representative. That was hidden. That's a clandestine action. Okay? The bankers were dealing in fraud. Because basically, who was the responsible party on that check? It was your grantor or grantee. They're really your grantee. Okay? It is the promisor. Okay? So, he is the promisor, but there's an executorial assigned promisor out here, and that is the state attorney general, the county attorneys, all the judges, anybody that's got a bar card is basically an executorial assigned promisor. Now, these are fraternal members for the fraternal society. All the bank financial managers and most of the major corporation financial managers, chief financial officers, whatever you want to call them, they all have to be a member of the secret society, of the fraternal society. They are the assigned promisors for your grantee. Under his dead pledge. He's a dead pledgee. And a mortgage is a dead pledge. So, we have to stop signing as the authorized representative. You go into court, you have to make it perfectly clear under positive representation. A statement made without qualification, expressed or implied. If you don't do that, if you don't put your qualifications in there, then basically it's going to be taken that you are the positive representative for the one that they're bringing the charge against. It's not you. It's the fiction, but you're going to represent him. Now you're held liable for him. The grantee. The one who was the pledgee to them in the mortgage pledge. That's the all capital name person. You get around that by signing on his behalf. I am only here on his behalf. I am not representing him. The judge, basically, the county attorney, the prosecutor, they are basically the executorial assigned promisors for that person. But they want you to become the authorized representative, thereby freeing them from their obligation. That they have to make the process and draw the funds out of the account if there's a valid charge. And see, in most cases, when you turn this table on them, there is no charge because the grantee was not driving. Now, all your mortgages and everything like that, the court was supposed to be taking care of those. But you came in there and you were signing as the authorized representative. That was one of the tricks that they pulled on you. I messed up last week when I sent this bill or payment order in. That's why I've got a new one attached there behind the fax cover sheet that I'm sending to the chief judge saying, hey, the United States bar and clandestine codes have been broken. I got them figured out now. And by the way, I have a presidential promise of immunity. Read the definition of promise of immunity. Literally, a promise made by a person in authority in obtaining a confession. Well, a confession is a pledge that the accused shall be immune in whole or in part from prosecution or punishment. Well, we were the initial pledgeor of our assets. We're the principal promisee and pledgeor. A presidential promise and immunity for our concessions pledges, and it is to be enforced by the executorial assigned promisor, bar card members, attorney generals, county attorneys, and judges. And then, like I said, your utility companies and several of these other places where you work, big manufacturing places. The financial manager also has to be a authorized or an assigned promisor to access your account. All the bank chief financial officers, and I was told this years ago, they all have to be secret society members, fraternal members. So they are assigned promisors. Now, all the checks that we were doing, closed checks and everything else, we were so damn close on that. What we had to do was draw a line through that authorized representative fraudulent line that they have there, and then write on behalf of our grantee, and then sign it. And then on the back, we endorse it as the promise, the principal, promise, or pledge, pledgeor. The principal, promise, or pledge, or. Okay? This is going to be a little confusing, and I continually get myself messed up of who the promisor and the pledgeor and the promisee and the pledgee are. So that's why you have to take a look at these documents, write it down, and sort of make a flow chart for yourself if you need to. Like I told the judge, I will no longer shoot myself in the foot. And that's what I did last week by having that authorized representative on there. Now, I don't want to hear anybody say, well, I knew all about that. Well, why didn't you speak up and say something? Hey, Pat, you've got to forget that authorized representative. So don't give me any bullshit about this, because I'm not going to believe you. You may remember from some past experience that basically you haven't done a damn thing to help this damn cause. And now under acto, condicto, or whatever the hell, indetta, whatever, I wish that you would draw from my grantee's promissory mortgage pool account, as I am sure you have my account numbers on file, and reimburse me for all court fees that I have paid out of my back pocket. Well, when you go into that acto definition, okay, and read what it says, a civil law action to recover a payment made under mistake. All of those items that we have signed as the authorized representative, we did them by mistake. We're not the authorized representative. We should have gained that knowledge basically from the Constitution, that to be a representative, you had to be 25 years of age, and then to represent another man, you had to be debt-free. That's to be a lawful representative. Most of these representatives we have now are not debt-free. It doesn't really call that out in the Constitution, but that is an implied requirement. Because how can you represent another man if you're indebted to someone else? And I can guarantee you, most of these guys out here that have these bar cards, they don't know how to get out of the system. They just know what they've been taught, and that's it. And they haven't taken the time to find out the rest of the story, because they think that's the whole story right there. So I redid the payment order, and see, there is no trust in this country, and I've said that all along. I took everything that had trustee completely out of these documents. Well, pretty much I left one on the top there, assigned promisor / trustee. They are a trustee in a way, but they're not a trustee over a trust. Okay? I should have taken it off there so it would take all confusion out of any possibility of misunderstanding. Okay? If we stick strictly with executorial signed promisor, because, see, the President signed H.R. 192 or H.J.R. 192. That was the promise. And then he made an executorial assignment to the attorney generals. In 1938, he made an executorial assignment to all the judges. All the county attorneys report to the state attorney general. Now, all the banking transactions are also under order to basically set off the payments under the paternal system, secret society, clandestine societies. But you have to sign the item right on behalf of. And see, he's only half of your ass. The other half of your ass is the grantor. The grantee is basically the state bad thief, the dead pledgee. The grantor is the state good thief that was on Calvary. And then you go on down, so you've got the grantor, you got the grantee, and then you have the original inherent estate owner, the promisee or assignor. You're on the center cross with this pledge, mortgage pledge. And then you terminate it. So now you're crucifying or you're executing all three crosses in the process. But that's for the state. Now, if you have a baptismal certificate, you're going to have two more crosses. One for the grantee, church, bad thief, dead pledger or pledgee, and then the grantor, the church, good thief. And you'll still be on the center cross. So you'll be holding another document in your hand on the center cross. Now, if you have a military, then you're going to have two more crosses. So you're going to have a total of 7 crosses on your Calvary. Jesus only had 5, according to John. 2 bad and 2 good. And then the center one. But see, if you have a DD-214, you're going to have a military bad thief and a military good thief. Same setup. So these documents, these executed reconveyance and reassignment documents, one goes with the certificate of live birth, one goes with the DD-214, and one goes with your baptismal certificate. You sign these, and basically you're signing on behalf of your bad ass and your good ass. And Jesus rode into town with both of his asses on an ass. So basically, if you don't like my language, blame it on Jesus. Because he's the one that rode around on an ass. these somewhat should be pretty self-explanatory when you read the document and then go and check out the words. And basically, those 8 pages of words, I would say, are pretty important, okay, for you to get a handle on. There might have been a couple blank pages in the Word document. I just saw one blank page there.
Yes, that's all.
Between 3 and 4, okay? But when you go through the mortgagee, and I covered some of this the other night, mortgage of patent, delivery deed, demise, device, transfer, the patent office. And see, the patent office with this certificate of live birth is basically the Bureau of Vital Statistics at your state. It's a branch office. It's another clandestine office for the land patent or the patent office out of D.C. Moral law, okay? Now, there's one that's probably on page 6 that is blanked out, okay? I didn't see that right away. I thought I cleared everything, but I guess I didn't. Right above clandestine, okay?
Surreptitious.
And basically just take the first word in clandestine and look that definition up, and that's what it is. It says clandestine, secret, kept secret, especially for a fraudulent purpose. Holy shit. Right out there in the dictionary. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And see, that's what that whole damn deal about the putting that in very small print that normal people would never read, never break out a magnifying glass and take a look at that. And see, they've gotten you into the process to where you're operating with this surrogate. Just like the movie with Bruce Willis about the surrogates. And basically that's against moral turpitude to have that in place. And that surrogate is our grantee. Okay? We still need a front person, so we're going to keep our grantor person, capital first letter, small letter name person, but we're going to get rid of that all capital name person, the grantee, because he's a dead pledger. Let the dead bury the dead, as the saying goes. And then stare decisis. Okay? The doctrine or principle that decisions should stand as precedents. And in that case, all the precedents have been recorded in the Bible for this action. Moses' court case, Daniel's court cases, numerous other prophet court cases, and then the final in the New Testament with Jesus' court case. They're all precedents. I tried to add a few extra items to most of these things. And see, like promise of immunity in obtaining a confession. Well, what is a confession? Well, they really don't give a good definition of a confession in the process. You have to read what concession is. And then concesso, a grant or concession. we have granted, concessionis, or whatever, I have granted, CONCESSI. And basically, these are all forms of confession. Concession is another means of a confession. You're conceding something.
But that's like not knowingly, is it, Patrick?
Huh?
That's not knowingly conceding.
Well, you have, okay? You've already done this, okay? You, when you basically were the promisee, okay?
Yeah.
And the pledge or in the process of pledging your assets, your inherent American estate over to them, okay?
Yeah, by getting a Social Security.
Then you basically were confessing or doing a concession to them, just like the baptismal certificate. You were conceding something over to them. Now they have the obligation to make the payment for everything we have. People have gone to the vicar generals in the church, knowing some of this, and had the vicar generals pay the bill. What were they paying the bill from? The baptismal certificate, which basically was our claim that we gave up over to the Church of Rome, our Adam and Eve inheritance estate, lineage inheritance estate. These guys don't own anything. We, the people, are the owners. It wasn't given to the corporations. I don't remember anywhere in the Bible reading that God said, I give this to you corporations.
Right.
Okay? See, we've got to start understanding and learning the law. And the law is in the words. Numerous people out here. Sam Davis, Miller, okay? Some of these other guys, Roger Albeck, that have all spent federal penitentiary time. They ended up giving up. They were close. They don't know how damn close they were of totally walking. Well, hell, the Montana Freeman. Everybody in the court walked out on them. They could have gotten up and walked out too, but they were scared shitless that if they got up, they were going to be shot trying to escape. About 20 minutes later, everybody came back into court and said, I guess you guys want to proceed. But they could have walked out. They were given the opportunity. But they said, oh, no, we'll be responsible for this. So basically, yeah, by being responsible, they ended up going to jail for something that they did not have to be responsible for. The executorial assigned promissors were giving them the option out. But they didn't take it. And so many people in these court cases, the judges have tried to give the people the option. But by pride, arrogance, and not fully understanding anything, we've shot ourselves in the foot. Saying, oh no, we're the representative. And basically then you become the obligator and you just freed them up from their responsibility. Because they were the ones that were supposed to be settling the matter with your grantee. I don't know whether anybody's had any time to look these documents over and see if there's any questions in the process. Make any statements that they think that maybe I've done something wrong. Please bring it up.
The only
if I
thing
ever
I
hear
noticed,
something and you haven't brought it up, I'm going to come and kick your living ass. Okay?
Well, I heard your Friday tape. I wasn't there. I don't know if I was there or not. But anyhow, you said that you were wondering why nobody came forward. I guess you and Chris figured it out that you had to be reconvey things, and you even talked about reverter or reversion. And I came across that word, and I was thinking about that, and I was thinking like, you know, the grantor, it was the guy that gave it up to the grantee, but, you know, I just believe that you knew more than me.
Well, you need to look at the document that I have here, okay?
Yeah.
It says
I just got on
basically
the call.
how it goes.
Yeah.
The grantee has to surrender. He's the surrenderer and the pledgee, and he has to do a reconveyance back to the grantor, who is a fiction also. And then the grantor, okay, has to turn around and see everything out here is under a quick claim, okay? We were trying to do the quick claims and claim them, but no, they've already done the quick claim. Our grantor quit his claim and gave it up to the grantee. See, it's a clandestine quick claim. We weren't informed of any of this stuff, of what all this was being done. It was all done under constructive fraud and a total violation of moral turpitude for their benefit. And then they held us in bondage in most cases because we kept signing as basically the authorized representative when we're not the authorized representative. Who authorized you? Who told you you could represent the dead?
No one.
No one. You're not supposed to represent the dead. The dead are dead. As the saying goes, let the dead bury the dead. So why do they need a representative?
to perpetrate the fraud.
Yeah, it's all fraud. And see, that's right out of that book of Joshua, chapter 17, to where the guy came out and was dead broke, and he figured out a way to get some money. He went and wrote up a document, held it up that this came as a decree from the king. Well, the king only appears one day out of the year, so he knew he was home free there, but nobody's going to question this. And he went and stood in front of the graveyard and charged everybody $200 shekels or whatever to bury their dead. If they didn't have the 200 shekels, then they placed themselves into bondage for 200 shekels.
How do the dead bury the dead? How is that even possible? How do the dead bury the dead?
Well, you haven't come forward to be alive, then you're considered dead. And the dead are the people that are mortgaging themselves.
The earth will take care of you, okay?
Is that correct, Pat?
You go throw a person in a damn gunny sack, you dig a hole, throw them in the ground. That's it. Over and done with. You don't put them in a damn coffin.
Has to do that.
You don't hold a fucking wake. You don't do any of that shit, okay? See, you don't put yourself in debt for the dead. They're dead. The people go out here and they'll spend $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 to bury some stinking dead body. How ludicrous is that? That's total asinine. Just like getting married. Oh, we've got to have a damn big-ass party and everything. We got to invite all the relatives and everything. Get totally in debt before we even get in the sack. Come on, people.
I think she doesn't understand how the dead bury the dead. She doesn't understand that the people that don't think correctly are like dead.
All the government is dead, okay? They're dead entities. The government will take care of it. That attorney general, that office is dead. It's a dead office. All of those offices are dead. They're not living offices. That's what is being referred to as let the dead bury the dead. They've already been paid for their services. So let them take care of the dead. That's what it comes down to.
Patrick, I noticed in your payment order you have an alternate title for the court. United States Superior State Court for Patrick Devine. Well, I guess you can have a short title and a long title. The long title being United States.
You make it United States Superior Estate Court. Okay? Now that brings up one other document that I was going to address to people. You go and get a 3575 address change document. And when you fill that out for the business name, okay, you put U.S., okay, no dots, just U.S., first two blocks. Then you put Superior, a space, Superior, and then a space, Estate, space, Court. A dash in the next block, and then you've got 3 remaining blocks. You put your initials in there. Okay, so that's going to be the name of your court. Your Superior Estate Court. See how simple that was?
Yeah. So we're no longer using the long title for it then?
It all depends on what you want to do, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Think about it, okay? Do you want to say territorial estate for the territorial estates of Patrick Devine? I just said up there at the top, United States Superior Estate Court for Patrick Devine. I simplified it down a little. It means the same damn thing.
Right. It's just a long form and a short form of saying the same thing.
Yes.
Okay. That was my question.
That just try and be consistent, whichever way you want to go. Now, on one thing I say, United States Superior State Court for the Territorial States of Patrick Devine. It's still saying the same thing.
Yes.
But don't the initials represent the legal fiction, first, middle, last name?
No, they represent you. Okay? Stop thinking about this damn stinking name game. Okay? The grantee is all capital. Bottom line, dead. He's dead. Now the grantor is Patrick Devine, capital first letter, small letter. Now, the owner is Mr. Patrick, capital first letter, semicolon after Patrick, of the family Devine. But when I sign it, it will be Mr. Patrick, semicolon, Devine. Now we've got three different persons there in the process. I am, and I am. Now you'll see in where I do the statement in block number 3 there, I am the original American inherent estate owner. That's one I am. The next I am is I accept this voluntary reassignment from my assignee. The third I am is I will, at this time, as the principal promisee, order. So that's 3 I ams right there. I am accepting, I am willing. And I am the original. Your name in all small letters, that's not what it came out to be, okay? The whole thing is, basically, is the numbers game. Okay? The lotto games. And that's what they have to get you in. And see, the grantor and the grantee all have numbers. The living owner doesn't have a number. So when you shut down all the number games, now you're totally free. You're not under the 999-year lease of this dead pledge. This mortgage deed of pledge as a dead pledge. And then, like I was trying to tell the other night, one of the key things they want to do is put you in a coffin in one of their controlled cemeteries. Now they have a plot number and everything assigned to that dead pledgee. So he is still pledged to their system.
And taxed.
Huh?
And taxed.
Yeah, but see, all you have to do on your taxes, all of these, you turn around and sign on his behalf. You don't sign as authorized representative. And you forward them to the executorial assigned promissor to settle the bill. It's his responsibility. It's not yours. He's the one that's the authorized representative, not you.
Patrick, when you mentioned the plots, the cemetery plots? What if families have already purchased them for people?
What was that again?
What if families have already purchased plots for people before they've gone on? How would that be handled? Actual plots.
Oh, I try and get rid of the damn things. But that's me, okay? When you get out of this system, basically it's not going to make a damn better difference because they won't have a number, they won't have a Social Security number, they won't have a certificate of live birth or anything because they won't have the assets to put into an account any longer.
Okay.
See, it now becomes a moot point.
Right.
But I would bury the dead the way we were supposed to bury the dead, like basically the Arabs and stuff like that do. Put them back into the earth and let Mother Earth reclaim them. But don't try and trick Mother Earth because she'll get pissed at you. And then some people don't understand why things happen to them so often because basically you're pissing off Mother Earth. You're disrupting the harmonics of the universe.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you're not grounding the energy, huh?
Yeah. You're not returning it to the source. You're not returning it to the source. You've got to give it back to the source.
I agree with that. The only thing is it obviously is an issue in most areas that aren't out in the country or something to try to do something like that. You pretty much would be.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You get this done, and I would get the hell out of town.
Yeah.
Okay? You stay in town, and you're going to die.
Why do you, what do you mean, in what respect do you mean? How do you mean that? I mean, literally, you're going to die?
I mean, literally. You're in a town, and basically you're dealing with the smog emissions from the catalytic converters. You're dealing with a lot of these other things. Yeah. Smoking ain't what's killing people or giving cancer to people. That's all fraud. It's all the drugs and everything, and half these damn vitamins that people take, which are not true vitamins,
right,
that are really killing the people.
Right.
And then the people don't have the right mentality to handle something that is bad to get rid of it when it does come into their body.
Mm-hmm. I just wasn't clear on how you meant you were going to be killed.
No, I get carried away with a lot of stuff.
I was like, what are you saying?
Okay, any questions on these executed reconveyance and reassignments?
Wait, one more question. You mentioned about we own everything, and
yes, the living owns everything. Okay, the corporations, they don't own anything.
Well, okay,
a corporation has a bunch of shareholders. It's the shareholders that own everything that the corporation claims to be the owner of. The shareholders have just allowed the corporation to hold their share of what is being owned. So it always reverts back to the living.
Not as like the usufruct that you hear about. not to be using it as opposed to
I didn't use any of those words in here. I tried to make this as simple as possible, so that even a fifth grader should be able to understand what the hell I'm saying here.
Okay, well, I have to catch up on a lot of your things. I've listened to 2 of the calls recently, and I just wondered when you just mentioned that.
Well, this pretty much pulls the whole thing together.
Okay.
These documents. Just take the one document for the certificate of live birth and try and go down through it and understand what it's saying, because everybody's got a certificate of live birth. Not everybody has a DD-214, and not everybody has a baptismal certificate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do have a baptismal certificate or did get baptized, you should be able to get those from the church that you went to free of charge.
Right. I saw the
If
one
you had a
about...
DD-214, you should be able to take that down to the county records recorder's office and place it into the military discharge book. They will not charge you for certified copies of that.
And you did mention on the either the last call or the call before that every time you get copies of those things, it creates another mortgage?
No.
No?
No, it's another sequence. That's all that it is. It's got 3 numbers on it. Okay, so it's in the numbers game.
I see. Okay.
The DD-214 is in the numbers game. Now, the church document does not have any numbers on it, so they are at least complying with that one, but they are under a fraud of trying to take away your original sin. That's my original sin. That belongs to me, because that original sin is the debt that basically the inheritance, the Adam and Eve inheritance, lineage inheritance, that we have a right to.
Okay.
The knowledge, the wealth that basically, for the whole world, that basically has been accumulated in the Vatican, in that Church of Rome, in the bank, and also in the catacombs, underground vaults that contain all the knowledge from the Mayan library, from the Druid library, from the Library of Alexandria, from the Aztec library. They took a copy of every one of those library documents and deposited them there in the Vatican, in the catacombs. And that knowledge, basically, that's where Einstein got his knowledge. That's where Tesla got his knowledge. These guys just didn't come about this knowledge automatically. They had help.
Hey, Patrick?
Yeah.
You made the mention that you wrote this for the 5th grade level. I've showed some of your documents over the past couple of years to 3 lawyers who are friends of mine. And we only had small arguments about what you were doing, but the one comment they made was they felt the document should be written to the 7th grade level, that judges don't understand anything over that. So I'm glad that you wrote it to the 5th grade level.
Well, I don't know whether it's 5th grade or 7th grade. I don't know.
Right.
I think that most 5th graders, if they know how to read, basically, they would understand this.
Well, their remark was saying that the judges, you can't do complicated arguments on them; they just get lost.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but in most cases, they don't understand even the usage of authorized representative.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that they're still signing their checks as authorized representative. Now, if that check goes overdrawn, who is the one that they come after?
You,
the living.
Yep.
But if you signed on his behalf and lined out that authorized representative, now the financial officer, as a executorial signed promisor, would have to go and process it from the grantee's account.
Right.
By way of the Social Security number. See, the Social Security card totally identifies the grantee because his name on that Social Security card is in all capital letters. It wasn't because, well, that's the typeset that we have and we didn't want to change it. That's bullshit. No, they had to make that a dead person because it's a dead pledge. And then he is a dead pledger or pledgee.
Patrick?
Yeah.
Can you explain what the significance is or why you decided to send it to the U.S. District Chief Judge?
Oh, because I've been messing with him anyway.
Okay.
Besides, he likes you now.
Oh, yeah. Hell, basically, I don't know what I read the damn document that I got back from him. Okay? I'll reread it if I didn't. Okay. This is a letter I got back from the judge. In this matter comes before the court pursuant to a batch of undecipherable documents entitled Quit Claim Deeds with Court Apostilles and Consultoria of Foreign Instruments. Attached to it was a postal money order in the amount of $40. Now here's the praise that he gives me. This document is yet another in a long series from a man who is the only one who knows what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I want. And see, he's recognizing that I'm the only one that knows what I want. But I will make them understand what I want before this is all over. And yes, what I submitted into him was undecipherable because I turned around and shot myself in the foot as being an authorized representative. So everything that basically 99% of all the documents that we've ever done out here that have gone to the Treasury, gone to these different places, and if they had authorized representative on them, they went right in the shit can.
So we signed as the Ecclesia Tribunal trustee, not the authorized.
In some regards, but we also signed as authorized representative. And then we were doing quick claim deeds. When we don't do quick claim deeds, they're the ones that did the quick claim deeds. We have to do a reconveyance of those deeds back to our grantor. See, the quick claim deeds have already been processed. We didn't know that. But if you read what it says about quick claim deeds, then you will understand that, hey, we can't do quick claim deeds because it's going the wrong damn direction. The direction we don't want it to go into. We want our stuff coming back from the grantee, the all-capital name dead person, back to the grantor, our fictional good thief, and then he will return it to us, and then we'll take it and leave and get the hell out of this damn nightmare. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I heard back from the Department of State about apostille and the source certificate. They sent a form back with the original of everything that I sent, saying that to make a request to have a document apostille, you need to put it on their official form.
And to get their official public notary.
Right.
Okay? I got mine back from the Secretary of State, and they refused to do the apostilles. And they said, basically, the ecclesiastical notary ain't right. It's got to be a state public notary. We do not use state public notaries. The state public notaries are only for the grantee and the grantor. The fictions. They can't deal with the living. And we don't need them. That's what one of the bankruptcy judges told the guys down in South Carolina. You can do this yourself. Well, if this document that I have isn't doing this ourselves, I don't know what it is.
Maybe we should send it to the bankruptcy court as well.
Huh?
Maybe we should send it to the bankruptcy court as well.
No. Why do you need to go there? Okay, you go to the state attorney general. You only need to go to one assigned promisor. Go to the head one for the state. And that's the state attorney general. You could possibly go into your county attorney and have him process it. Or to the judge for your county. They're also executorial assigned promisors. All the court judges in this country are basically under the control as being an assigned executorial assigned promisor. That took place in 1938 when they revamped the court system in this country. That was what they were doing. You go and try and play the game a different way, and you're going to screw up the whole damn process. All your bills and everything. The Attorney General's office has a customer complaint office there. You were supposed to be sending all your bills that you couldn't get remedy for by sending them back to the financial manager or the CFO of the company, but you had to send them back in the right regards when you sign on his behalf. Now you are an address that he is basically the assigned promisor to make the settlement from your grantee's account. They have the account numbers. Any other questions from people that have read the document?
I have a question.
Okay.
You said that we all have a certificate of live birth, but I only have a certificate of naturalization. Does the process change?
Well, then you're basically the same scenario there. You would do it for the certificate of naturalization. Okay, I was trying to address the vast majority of people in this country. And you just have to understand that basically if I don't have a certificate of live birth here, then I have to do this. Now, you might try and take your certificate of live birth back in your country and go back there and put your claim in. Because you should have had a birth certificate there.
Yeah, but I think they transfer it to the new country when you naturalize.
Well, that's what you've got to sort of check out, okay? Because normally you have to have a certificate of live birth, and then basically you surrender that over. So basically that is part of your mortgage that is going into your naturalization account, mortgage deed account, or mortgage deed, what the hell is it? Mortgage pool, the promissory mortgage pool. And see, yours would probably be held at the United States level in D.C. So I would, in your case, turn around and process your item to the United States Attorney General. Okay?
Okay. On an earlier call, you said something about the U.S. trustee. I was wondering if that's involved or how that's involved.
That's only involved if basically you're in bankruptcy. So if you're not in bankruptcy, the U.S. trustee would not come into play. And the bankruptcy judge wouldn't come into play. But if you were in bankruptcy, you could do this and hand it to the trustee and have it handed to the judge in bankruptcy. Because they're authorized or executorial signed promisors also. But they're normally only handling it while you're in a state of bankruptcy. After that, then it returns back to the Attorney General's or to your local area or to your chief financial officers for your individual items while you're still in the system.
Okay. I have one last question.
Okay.
I have one last question about the 3575 form. Are you supposed to leave the old address blank?
Yeah. You're setting a new one up. So you just leave the old one blank. There never was. Basically, this is a new business. And you'd mark business. It's not an individual, it's a business. Your court's a business.
I heard Thomas.
Then you get this on record, okay? Now you have the post office acknowledging that you have a court out there at that address.
Okay. I heard Thomas say that we should cross out business and write organization since we're an organization.
No, leave it as business.
I was thinking of doing that, but I see Patrick's point here.
Yeah, don't screw with the form. It's their form. Just mark the boxes and let it go at that, okay?
Okay.
That's the problem. We try and outthink the damn things, and basically, in most cases, we're shooting ourselves in the damn foot. So if you want to walk around with sore feet, go ahead and keep shooting yourself in the foot. Okay, any other questions? Nobody? Tom, you monitoring this?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead and call tonight then.
Yes, I mean your documents were very clear, and we've got to really go through the definitions. But the documents themselves, to me, didn't raise many questions. I got it.
Yeah.
So we'll go over and we'll probably get, pounding away on them and making our own. We may come up with some more, but there's tomorrow.
Okay.
Thanks,
Later.
Patrick.
Okay, thank you very much.
I don't have any questions.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
I'm slow on this. Okay. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Patrick.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Later. Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Good.
Yeah.